So I thought I'd do another. Where's my microphone? Oops. It's here. Okay, so I thought I'd do another reading session here. From my writing. Reading from my writing. What do I have here? What I'm going to do is I'm just going to, the best way to see it, like this. Yeah, you can kind of see the book. Okay. While Voltaire shuffled the cards, and Philippe gathered some of his belongings from a chair, I went to Jean's side to ascertain the intensity of the rain. I was silent, and she left me soon to fill the glasses of the gentlemen again with drinks. But I remained. I saw little in the ubiquitous presence of the outside darkness, but the glistening hints of suspended dew, tracing ever and anon a sparkle here and the reflection of its lucid gem there. All else was an impenetrable landscape of mist and the black tint of unpredictability. The memory of faded time crept its return, and I, in hushed, sensible tones, not only spoke in English, but imagined England before me, along with the following lines from Hamlet. There is a willow grows aslant a brook, that shows his hoar leaves in the glassy stream. Therewith fantastic garlands did she make, of crowflowers, nettles, daisies, and long purples. Let liberal shepherds give a grosser name, but our cold maids do dead men's fingers call them. There, on the pendant boughs, her crowned weeds, clamoring to hang, an envious sliver broke, when down the weedy trophies and herself fell in the weeping brook. Her clothes spread wide and mermaid-like while they bore her up, which time she chanted snatches of old tunes, as one incapable of her own distress, or like a creature native and injured unto that element. But long it could not be, till that her garments, heavy with their drink, pulled the poor wretch from her melodious lay. My face was now close to the glass pane. My eyes were glazed by the mirror of rushing streams, of diamond beads. They were immersed in the sea, in the ocean, in the aquamarine density of rain and the color of my eyes. The tide advanced, I drew a step back, and my gaze shifts its focus to the translucent glass, tracing in ever sharper lines the contours of her diaphanous, ghostly features. It is fused with the aqueous dampness of the raining backdrop. Her black locks, ivory skin, are dripping with dew. But why does life not glow from those eyes? Why is the palette of that visage as pallid as winter, as death itself? Fell in a weeping brook, I whispered anew. Her clothes spread wide, she chanted as one incapable of her own distress. My reflection hovered motionless and still before me. It was beautiful but strange. On a sudden, pattering pins of ice were showered over my skin by the cold hands of horror. Oh Lord, I gasped. She is dead. Chapter Château du Serré, March 25, 1745. Page 130. When time gives me allowance, do I relate my stay, still in continuance, as I write from my lovely and charmingly simple guest room, and I have but an hour here or another there to spare for this task, which is the reason I have been writing since the 22nd of March, the single eve of that day, and I desire to continue that night. So inspiring it was to my emotions and thoughts. Therefore I continue whence my last entry ended. A vigorous applause thoroughly roused me from the recital of Shakespeare's Hamlet that had so drawn me into its tragic world, that had so made of my acting reality, that I had nigh veritably become Ophelia, and seen her in my reflection and my image. By Jupiter, landed Voltaire, she is a born actress. Rarely do my eyes indeed behold such convincing originality. You have persuaded me to believe Ophelia's death belonged not to suicide, smiled the elderly gentleman. Bravo, dear Mademoiselle de Bourbon, joined in Diderot. You are not only passionate, but passion itself in its most beauteous form. Oh, no, monsieur, I muttered hesitantly. Not Mademoiselle de Bourbon. That is to say, Denise. Do give me the honor of calling me by my Christian name, Lisette. You and all your and regard me also as the friend of each and all of you. I examined the smiling faces, and my wandering eyes halted at that of d'Alembert, whose eyes were of more expression than his smile. Well, Lisette, began Voltaire, we should be most gratified if you came a little closer to your new-found friends. I am to be called Voltaire. It is the only name a little closer to your new-found friends. Sorry. Hi, everyone. Sorry, I'm just really into the reading. Reading time. I wrote this book like way over 10 years ago. Like, not the book, I didn't finish it, but like really long time ago. And yeah, it was actually about Ophelia. She was, my character was, they were talking about Ophelia from Hamlet. So this was like, I wrote this a long time ago. Let's see, where was I? Oh, hi, Sakira, how are you? Oh, thank you so much. Thank you very much. I was just putting the girls to sleep here. Well, Lisette, began Voltaire, we should be... Wait, as your friend... I am to be called Voltaire, and it is the only name I know. I will be even happier when I am gone from this sad sight, said Philippe with a shudder, and in the company of my friends, gaming, drinking, fencing, swearing, quarrelling, drabbling. I will go so far. And with that he hastened to the door with a bottle of brandy, halted before opening it, said, Farewell, Lisette, and was gone. It was not in my intention, I said, sitting back to the table between Jean and Emilie, to give him permission to call me Lisette or a friend, but in the name of all that is healthy and reasonable, who is that man? Because this guy, Philippe, is a scientist, and he's kind of a little bit eccentric, to say the least. 7 is a sound number, mumbled Voltaire, but only 6 can play. Then I shall retire to my room, for it is growing late, and I am not only growing old, but am old, or as Philip calls me, what was this? Senescent. Therefore I do derive some sleep. Said Terrasson, also rising. A good night's rest to you all, and to you, youthful Lisette. Forget not to henceforth call me simply Jean or Abbé, whichever you prefer, my dear. And he cordially bowed to us all, kissed the hands of the ladies, with mine being the last, and departed. Hardly had the elderly man left, when Voltaire was already up and arranging the chairs around the table. Lisette, make haste. come hither. You are to sit at my left. Happy enjoyment that it is, but above all, beside Jean le Rond. Come, come, added Voltaire, joining to the seat placed now precisely between his and D'Alembert's. These are the encyclopedists of the Enlightenment, so they're getting to know this young aristocrat girl, noble lady who just became a part of this circle through means of Mademoiselle Poisson. Upon my words, monsieur, I protested. Ideste, Voltaire, but it will not do. Oh, given to his whims and fancies, dear, laughed Diderot. Voltaire's old age has so little joy left to find pleasure in that he must be satisfied by believing to be of some use in matchmaking. And when you, Denis, are 51, you shall curse my 72-year-old still dancing self. Come, come, Lisette, it is late, and we have not yet begun, pursued the eldest but gayest of the party. Go on, encouraged Jean, giggling. You will be seated across me, and I can admire you if D'Alembert refuses to do so. And I want to be called Jeannette by you as well. It is the name dearest to me and my friends. All was settled. The table was slightly rearranged according to Voltaire's planning, and I sat rather awkwardly beside the silent D'Alembert. They make a perfect pair, clapped Jeannette, proudly approving our union. They are very pretty, chuckled Emilie. I beg to be corrected if I am mistaken, sighed a helpless D'Alembert, but have we no say in the matter? None at all, asserted Voltaire, distributing the cards. Now this game requires a substantial degree of ingenuity, he began, and described the rules. As I listened, I sensed a wariness overwhelm me, and a slight remainder, from that. How is everyone, by the way? Tell me about, while I read, you guys can tell me how your day has been and what's been going on. I don't know what's happening here. Some of fear. Oh, yeah. Therefore, I finally tasted Jeannette's savorous chocolate drink. To say the least, it awoke me and permitted me to converse with more ease. Philippe Paré is a youth of but 20, in spite of his appearing much older, elaborated Emilie as we began to play the game, and he is already an experienced apothecary. Hi. Oh, that's good that you were able to go. I'm so happy to hear that. I'm doing good, thank you. I played a little Tomb Raider, and then I got all the way to, I got the keys at the Giza, what's it called? No, it had a name, I forgot the name of it. The pyramid. The guy gave me these pair of, not triplets of keys, and another key, and I have no idea where to go from there. I was stuck and I was tired and I was sleepy. I got woken up today early. And so I hardly slept, so I kept falling asleep. So that I'm just doing a little reading. That's how I am. How are you? Beside the gym, anything new? Let's see, I just can't get the lighting right. I got to the, what's it called? I saw the pyramid. I just didn't get into the pyramid. I'm supposed to hide with the keys, but I don't know yet where to go. Like, I have no idea. What's it called? I don't know what it's called. It started with M. What's the name of that pyramid? And I'm jumping around trying to find a way to the pyramid. I came out of that little... Oh, nice! Oh, you're almost finished? Sweet. Menkaure, that's it. That's the one. Yeah. I just saw it like once and I was like, okay, Yeah, I don't know how to get ahead, but I'll find it somehow eventually. Hopefully I'll continue maybe this week, tomorrow probably. Yeah. Nothing much of interest that I can relay. What else? Let me think. Yeah, it wasn't so hard today. I just picked up the remainder of those colorful artifacts, and then the red, the green, the purple. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, well, it was getting, like, I was feeling it was nearing the end. This must be the end. Or near the end, at least. Yeah. No, it's good. I like this game. I'm happy I solved the underwater labyrinth. Which one? The trap area? I don't know. It all seemed like a trap area. I don't quite know which one you're referring to. No, I don't know. The skulls? I could be tired because I hardly slept, but I don't remember any skulls. Skulls? I don't know. I'm thinking. I don't know. Honestly, no idea. Oh, that's a good thing. I know I found a secret, so that's all I know. And that, yeah, it was pretty straightforward, but now I have no idea how to go forward. I'm just jumping into the same hole like 100 times. Oh, really? Oh, nice. Yay, I avoided it. Which code was it, though? Oh, wow. I don't know. I didn't get it then, I guess. Lucky me. I did my homework. I did. Look. Where's my map? I keep showing off with my map today. This is my map of, whoops. Oh, I ripped my map. Okay. Remember the underwater area? This is like the 20th time I'm showing off this freaking map. But look, this is my map. It literally makes no sense. Like, I couldn't write here because there was plastic here, so I kind of like wrote onto the plastic to make sense. You can't really see it, but it made no sense. Literally, I don't know how, but I somehow was able to actually find my way. I didn't know how to write like up and down, and that was my underwater map, and it somehow made sense in the end, and I don't know how I did that. It made no sense, but somehow it worked in the end. Like, it generally found what I was looking for, but it was hilarious. I was laughing so much. I had so much fun with it because I just kept laughing. Like, I was like, what am I drawing? I didn't know what I was doing. Like, I thought this was south. You can't even see it, but and then I like, how do I make a map of up? So I just made, that was up. See, it says up right over there. There's my lever. There's the head. It literally was like made no sense whatsoever. There's the plastic part where I can write. There's the bird. It was so much fun. I just kept laughing. Yeah, Amanda was laughing there with me because I was just dying of laughter. I couldn't take it. I was laughing at how I didn't know what I was doing. Like, it made no sense at all. And then it was supposed to meet somewhere, but it did not meet at all. The only thing it did help me with was it gave me like a general direction of where the icons were. So, or those, yeah. Those hieroglyphs, and then I was able to kind of find them, but that's it. I was gonna do some Final Fantasy IV, but I have no energy whatsoever, like none, to press a button. So I'm just like gonna read a little bit. I should be sleeping, but I did have a little nap tonight. But yeah. Well, so you're almost finished with Baldur's Gate. That's great. That's amazing. What else what are you going to play after that? After Baldur's Gate, what are you going to play? The Souls games? What's that? Like, I'm not that, like, I know games, but, like, I'm generally just have the technically I spent most of my time in 14 and what's it called? Like other games. When I did have time. I don't know what the Souls games are. Oh wait, I've heard of Dark Souls. Elden Ring! Oh no, I've been wanting to try Elden Ring for ages. I just can't with this PC, but one day I'm gonna play that. I saw someone streaming and I was like, oh, I need to play Elden Rings for sure. One day. I thought Elden Ring was like a one. I'm just looking at the Dark Souls because I didn't know it was all a series. It all belongs together, like the Dark Souls and the Elden Ring? Or is that separate? Is Dark Souls Elden Ring? Oh yeah, they're all connected, so that makes sense. Yeah. Oh, okay, so like it's not the same story or whatever. Like it's just okay. Cool. Have you played them? Have you played them yet? Or have you not? Yeah, I like I don't know if you were here, but I was just reading a scene from Ophelia from Hamlet where, and I wrote this like way over 10 years ago, so it's pretty it was pretty sad, and like my character has a sort of I actually did an audition for Ophelia in London, one of the prestigious drama schools, but I unfortunately didn't get in. It's really hard to get in there. But yeah, this was like years and years ago. Oh yeah, no worries. Thanks. Yeah, so it's not something I just wrote. It's an old work. With Ophelia being, in the music right now. I thought I'd pull it out. Well, I'll read a little more. Put you guys to sleep because I see you're up and you should probably be sleeping too. Let's put everybody to sleep. Where am I? I don't even know what comes here. Oh yeah, it's a bit about D'Alembert, I think. He's one of the encyclopedists in the period of Enlightenment. Philippe Paré is a youth of but 20, in spite of his appearing much older, elaborated Emily as we began to play the game, and he is already an experienced apothecary. Oh, nice. Perhaps you mean to say a mad charlatan, I laughed, carefully examining my cards. It was an odd combination, nevertheless variable. It does seem so, yes, she smiled, and perhaps he has inhaled insalubrious doses of toxic chemicals and substances, yet his concoctions are, remarkable as it may seem, effective and of healing properties. Whenever Voltaire or I suffer from slight maladies, pains, and or fevers, Philippe's creations work wonders. Wondrous indeed that you do not fear them to be poison, I said, casting a card onto the table. Well, I know I should never taste a drop of even his least effective brew, said Jeannette. Your bravery, Emilie, is commendable, and almost frightfully so. Oh, Philippe is but an impoverished youth, glad to find a coin wheresoever it may turn up. I am certain he could not even annihilate a fly were he asked to do so. He's a harmless lad, and I dare go so far as to call him reliable. His spite can only be attributed to his poor condition in life, yet he is admirably talented in his craft. I fully support him in his work. He was recommended to me by reliable acquaintances and has visited us and aided us oft. He makes good use of the library, does he not, Voltaire? The addressed mumbled, nodded, and threw his card. You, monsieur, are a writer of plays. And I began. Voltaire, my dear, Voltaire. The addressed mumbled, nodded, and threw his card. Oh, yeah. Ah, indeed, it is with difficulty that my tongue pronounces not the monsieur. I am, after all, so accustomed to, at times, enervating and unnecessary decorum that I cannot now seem to be without it. Well, Voltaire, you, as I have heard, are a writer of plays and the historian of his majesty, but pray, would you or any other amongst us be so kind as to speak a little of yourselves? I, as a duchess of the court, have not much to reveal, for I spend most of my time in Versailles, when not in the chateau of Orleans, and am occupied merely by the amusements or studies the life in court has to offer. I have 4 brothers and a young sister, her 3rd year, and that is all, in truth. Mew? You are yet young, smiled Diderot, and full of love for life and vivacity. I am certain an adventurous future lies before you. Which is why, said Voltaire, we must commence all more intimate introductions with d'Alembert. Let us give him leave to introduce you to these adventures. Voltaire, cried Jean Le Rond, your obstinate adherence to an idea you take into your head only to run away with it is fatiguing to the highest degree. The poor lad is in need of more adventure than you, Lisette, said Diderot. Jean d'Alembert is the son of an artillery officer, Louis Camus Destouches, who at the time Jean's birth was not in France, and whose mother placed him on the steps of the church Saint-Jean le Rond, hence his name. At the return of Monsieur Destouches, Jean was placed into the care of a glazier's wife, Madame Rousseau, and has abided with her ever since. He travels little, sees even less, and his days pass mostly in the company of books and study. Nevertheless, he is an extraordinary. That will do, Denis. Be so kind as to speak of me no further, interposed d'Alembert, palpably flustered. I agree, I hastily put in to relieve Monsieur d'Alembert of his discomfiture. At any rate, it must be exceedingly unpleasant for him to be thus presented before others. But I do pity you, Monsieur d'Alembert, and I am very sorry indeed that you had been abandoned as a wee babe. Poor soul, I added, verily roused to sincere compassion that colored the handsome d'Alembert's features to even more alluring shades. What else do I have here? Oh yeah, he's just talking about his life right now. What's a mew? What are mews? Oh, these were really interesting stuff. Oh, here's a little more about D'Alembert. I wrote this such a long time ago. I did so much research. What? No, they're my it's like a notebook like this, and like I write manually into them the pages, like I write my novel manually like this. Wait, if I turn off the light, I think you can see it better. See? And then I just like I write, and then I type it up afterwards, like it's just all by hand, full of I don't know if you can see, like there. Yeah, you can kind of see it. Yeah, it's just I've got a bunch of these, and then I just gather them together, and then once these are like the rough copies, and then once I have the rough copies, I type them up, and then I start editing, because it's always way too much research. And like here I'm gonna describe. Oh, here's Denise Diderot's story, and here's I had a good writing here, but yeah, I feel like when I'm writing and like I'm in the process, I have to do it by hand. Oh no, this is when Philippe makes fun of Ophelia. Oh yeah, that's done. Gosh, I forgot a lot of this. This was like way over 10 years ago that I wrote these. Never finished this. Jean d'Alembert. This is where I like describe who d'Alembert is. It's really interesting, his story. Finished his first studies at the, where was it? Collège? The Jansenist Collège des Quatre Nations. He went to study medicine, but at length came to appreciate his talents for the mathematics. Therefore went on to the Paris Académie des Sciences. He read his first paper in 1739 on a few errors he had found in Renan's Analyse démontrée. So I did like a lot of research of these guys, because they're like pretty important characters in the novel. Clairaut, not yet his rival, lauded the second submission to the Académie on the mechanics of fluids. In 1741, he was permitted to enter the Académie. He has since published his Traité dynamique, in which he has improved Newton's definition of force. By the by, Newton's Principia is being translated into French by Madame de Châtelet was Voltaire's lover, and she translated the Newton's book into French. Clairaut and Maupertuis has aided her considerably in the massive undertaking. In 1738, Voltaire and Emily published Éléments de la philosophie de Newton, which explains Newton's theories in more comprehensible terms for the ordinary reader. So, like, they made it into this, like, this was the first encyclopedia. So, like, it's pretty interesting how that kind of evolved. And then this goes on to discuss, this was more like research that I did, really. In 1744, d'Alembert published Traité de l'équilibre et du mouvement des fluides, wherein Jean presented an alternative treatment of fluids to the one published by Bernoulli. Anyways, in short, he is a scholar in mathematics, and it is against him you are playing. Indeed, I have already praised Jean on his translation of Tacitus from Latin. In that too is he proficient. I did research back then. There wasn't like AI and all that where everyone just types it all up. Yeah, it's exactly the it's in 1745. So yeah, like how the encyclopedists kind of came together. But a lot of it is like romance, and then there's a bunch of science in it. So it's I did a lot of research back then. Like, I really had to read up on it. So he goes on, I've worked on translations, history of Greece, or the medical dictionary, but now I'm working on my Pensée philosophique, to which I desire to add an essay on, well, let us say, the importance of reason and experience. And now, sighed D'Alembert, you are satisfied with all this boasting? I must indeed affirm I am. I am all astonishment, I smiled, because this girl, she's fictional. She's the little 17, 18-year-old duchess that kind of gets into the midst of all these philosophers and scientists, and she's just through the acquaintance of Mademoiselle Poisson. I am all astonishment, I smiled. You are indeed of great knowledge. Jean Leron examined his cards, I mine. He placed one on the pile, I another. He shuffled those in his hands, examined them, paused, placed a second. I smiled, banished one of mine. Our final possessions were all placed face up on the table. It seems, Lisette, whispered Diderot in a tone that denoted approbation, you are no less deficient in intelligence than we are. So it turns out that this girl is actually kind of smart. Like, she kind of knows math. And the guys are like, wait, she's not just a cute little aristocrat. Aha, I have found you all out, I laughed. 'Twas a very generous little play, and the game has been well played out. You have allowed me to win. She's like 17, like all young. And were we to swear, said D'Alembert, evincing that visage I again beheld with admiration, for to its beauty and sparkling eyes that seemed all the more intrigued by mine, now that I had none, was added that grace of a complex exemplary mind. That we did no such thing, what would be your thoughts on the matter? So if we admitted that we didn't actually let you win, what would you say? Quite simple. In truth, I could not but own that I was endowed with a copious supply of luck this evening. Or perhaps, suggested Diderot, that you are endowed with a mind that wants naught but the glorious enlightenment of knowledge. I deliberated a moment, but only laughed at them. I am no fool. Nonetheless, I am no genius either. A witty saying proves nothing, laughed Voltaire. This is an actual quote of his. Soon enough, Jean rose from his seat, wandered to a shelf, withdrew some tome from it, and placed it before me with a sheet of paper and some writing utensil. Voltaire joined Jean behind me. Diderot and Emily drew their chairs close to me, and Jeannette hopped over to our newly formed group. I was shown a page by Jean. How much older he seemed this close in comparison to Sebastian. That's another fictional character. He's this very, very eloquent and very, very fancy type of guy that she's engaged to. A dandy, a real aristocrat dandy. And now she got to meet D'Alembert, who seemed again a mere child, and asked to solve a rather simple mathematical problem, and followed the next and the next, and thus passed the hours of the night and the scribbling of my pen. The patience and counsel with which they steadfastly watched by my side was felt with all the force of my admiration and surprise, that increased at each problem I unpuzzled with ease, even as they gradually increased in difficulty. And at length my doubts of comprehending aught at all in the science of mathematics was dispersed. My appreciation for my new friends, whose passion for the sciences allowed them not to move from my side, doubled, and my memories of a pampered, pretty Lisette in Versailles, who had but simple prospects before her, indefinitely conquered. There was something else written down there, but I can't see this. The writing is so tiny over there. Yeah, and then that ends the chapter. So this aristocrat girl, young teenage girl, realizes that she's actually not just just a noble woman who's gonna live her days in Versailles, but she's actually quite smart in math, and she's discovered by these geniuses. And that's where this part ends. Okay, it's kind of getting late, and I feel awkward sometimes talking when there are people around. Like, it's easier to read when there's nobody around. This book is like nowhere. Like, I never got near to finishing it. But I have like so many pages. There's a whole other storyline to it. Well, she had her acquaintance. Her acquaintance took her there. It was through her friend at Versailles. So technically, Jeannette took her there, who later becomes Pompadour, Madame de Pompadour. So they're like these best friends. Well, it's a fiction, obviously. Yeah. Who is... Oh. Well, I guess I'll end here. And no, they were actually very open to women. They had the have you not heard of the cafes where they went to? Women were very engaged in philosophy at the time, and this discourse in that circle. Like Voltaire's lover was the translator of many books, like of Newton's book. She translated it into French, and there was actually quite a the bubbles that at that time. So yeah. Well, it evolves, obviously. Yeah, like you'd be surprised in the 18th century. Like, okay, like 1740s, they did have it actually. But obviously it wasn't as... What did I do? What happened? Oh, okay, no, it's just dark. I thought I turned my phone off, but it was dark because I'm thinking of, like, can you raid someone with writing? Probably. Maybe I could, like, I'm trying to open my Twitch here. See if I could raid someone. Yeah, I'm progress is always a question of being able to stay balanced, I think, in my terms. Yeah, like if it goes overboard, you gotta kind of pull it back, you know what I mean? Or the other way around. If it's too pulled back, you gotta a little bit let it move forward. It's always a question of balance, in my opinion. Like, you can't be just this or just that. There's a whole variety of variables. Yeah, like this is something we could probably argue about and discuss. Sometime. Maybe in like a voice or something, because... How's your new background with the gaming, by the way? The fireplace. I still wasn't. Wait, let me see. Wait, let me check my phone. Was there any? Let me see. Is there anything of yours up the line? Sometimes you can see like what you live now. Well, they don't show it. Sometimes they show you. Oh no, because I wasn't watching. Yeah, I'm more leaning towards the other side, but I have a lot of I'd say try to like center, like more towards center. I don't like extremes. I can't really handle extremes because people will just end up fighting. You can't have it both ways, I think. It's impossible. Yeah, exactly. I like to argue and to hear sometimes both sides, but sometimes like it depends. It's hard to go into this, but I've had so many examples of all talk but no action that I just really got convinced of where certain things can go. And like, but this is like more of from a personal point of view. But I believe everybody has the option and choice to believe what they want and to live as they want. But we should all respect the other kind of. It's hard. It's hard because it's so hard. Everyone has such a strong argument for their own cause or whatever that it'll always somehow end up in clashes. It's just we can't get too clashy. Like when people start losing respect for the other side, that's where things go wrong. Yeah, exactly. I think that's where everything goes wrong, when one side only focuses on that side and forget about the others. So it's very difficult to view from two paradigms and then meet somewhere in the center, because arguably you cannot ever really agree on some axioms maybe, but not on certain principles. It's very difficult to agree, but respect is, I think, the main talking points somehow. And understanding and doing research. Like I see so much misinformation, not just on one side but on both sides, that it's hard to argue when people just, whatever they read, they take for granted and for face value. But yeah, anyways, let's see. I don't see anybody. I wish I could raid somebody, but they're not online. Nobody's online that I want to raid. Oh well, then I won't raid. It looks weird anyway. What were you playing? I was playing a little bit of writing. That was fun. Yeah, that's an interesting point of view for sure. Yeah. Well, I tend to be like, since I really like technology and stuff. Oh yeah, no, it's just there's nobody on. I like somebody I know. I just like somebody I don't know. I just like hi. Just came from writing. What are you playing? There's nobody I really want to raid right now that I see on, so I'll just drop. And then I don't have to talk. You know, sometimes with the raids, I end up getting stuck there, and there goes another hour. Well, it was nice talking to you, Sakura. Thank you so much for having a chat. It's always fun and engaging. And I will see you soon. Have a great night. Bye. Thank you. Oh, McDaniel, thank you. Oh, I'm gonna make a video of the stink bug that I introduced to the world. On camera, on live camera. I need to find it. So I'll post that when I do find it. Amanda, you too. Great night. Everybody have a good night. Sleep well and don't let the bed bugs bite. Bye.